Stop the world! I want to get off. All right, now these stories are absolutely true. Uh, I've experienced them myself. Now, I'm sitting at the dinner table and I'm getting ready to go out for a bike ride. And my father came home and went past where I go. I go over, come out of Fisher Place, Stevens Place, River Road, over the bridge to the right, Main Street, Belleville, drive along all the way down where it becomes River Road again in Nutley to Kingsland. Go up Kingsland and up to Upper Montclair, all up and down up in there on the streets, Grove Street. Anyway, so I'm sitting there. My father goes, they closed Main Street in Belleville down. It's going to be closed for months. And I said, oh, for that chemical problem, my father, chemical company. My father goes, yeah. I said, so anyway, this chemical was called organic something. I can't remember it. My memory's really good. I'd have to go look it up. But what this company was is that you give them any kind of chemical and they dispose of it. They were doing mustard gas from World War II, uh, toluene, all kinds of chemicals that you don't want around, benzene, toluene. After it's been contaminated, it's been used in the company state, they give it to them. So what really has happened, they had this big sign with a beaker on it, organic something. I can't think of the name. One of you guys might know it. It's famous. So I go over the bridge, and they have these horses there, and it's closed, road closed. I zip right past it. I'm on my bicycle. In a matter of seconds, I'm going to be past the place. I've been going past that place when it was running. Now it's closed down. It's sealed off. It's actually safer for me to go by. So I zip by it. Every night, my father's complaining, you're not supposed to go by there. You're not supposed to go by there. Well, what these guys were actually doing, they were getting rid of any chemical that you brought them. They'd get rid of it. They had a real slow drip line into the sewerage system. So the first indication that there was a problem was the town workers were down in the sewerage, and they noticed that something was eating their boots, brand new boots, eating it. The rubber. There's very few chemicals that can eat rubber. So they researched it. They found out this company went through the paperwork and said we had a mistake. Uh, Basically, what happened was a pipe broke, chemical got in the sewage line. We're really sorry. They paid a fine, and they're back in operation. The next thing that happens, there's a school right behind the place. This is how stupid the world is. There's a school maybe 300 feet from where this factory was, the old factory building. So anyway, the kids start getting real severe headaches, and they call the nurse up, and then she starts getting, the whole school gets headaches, and they start throwing up. So they rushed everybody out. They walked them a couple blocks up, and they were fine. I don't know if they had hazmat back in those days. They brought guys down, and they realized that something was in the air. And somebody come down and says, "That's mustard gas from World War One." And the person's like, "No way! Yeah, it's a mustard gas. I'm telling you. I'm an expert, and that's what it is." So the cops and the town guys, they all know that the last accident went down the certain sewer. They pop the tops off the sewer, and as they're popping it, up comes mustard gas. They put another drip line into the sewer line. This time, they got caught. They closed it down. It's in all the papers. Now that they have it shut down and everything's closed up, they have my road blocked. Now, for me to go on my ride every night, 30 miles, whatever ridiculous amount I was doing to get in shape for a 100-mile bike ride, it was way out of my way, very inconvenient, because the way I was doing it, I would slowly climb the hills up towards Montclair or further, Fairfield. Sometimes I go to Fairfield. I don't want to give it up. So they paid cops to sit next to the building and make sure nobody went in there. So when I would go by, I'd always wave to the cops. I waved to them, they waved back. And they know me every night. This guy comes by on his bicycle. I wave to them. I wave to them. So anyway, it's funny stuff. So anyway, I got to remember the two stories. Same place. So I think it might have been a Friday. I got off early or whatever, and I'm going for a bike ride, and I'm going by. And as I'm getting past this organic, I wish I remember organic something. Oh man, I knew that name so well at one time. But anyway, there's a bunch of men in space outfits. I'm not kidding you. They're in the if you've ever seen in the movies where someone's under quarantine, they have those special suits. And as I'm driving by, it's the stupid governor of New Jersey. And I can't think of his name. He's the one that put tax on toilet paper. Oh man, they named the stadium after him for a while, and I think they renamed it back. Well, anyway, Tom Kane? I think it was Tom Kane. Anyway, I waved to him and he waves back. And then he realizes I'm not supposed to be there. Right? And I was gone so quick. I just picked up my pace a little bit. And a couple of them walked out and I could see them. I have a rear view mirror on the bicycle. It's on my glasses. And in the mirror, I see them discussing me. And, they kept redoing like, he just zipped by us. He just zipped by. I zipped by. I come home, I tell my father, he goes, if they caught you, you could be in real trouble. I said, look, that place is closed up. I was driving by that when it was open. I was driving over the sewer lines, over the sewer covers when there was it what I say it was, the gas, mustard gas from World War II, xylene, toluene, benzene. Now I'm driving by. They're going into buildings, so they need to have that protective clothing and all that. I'm just driving by. But there was this one woman cop. I stopped to talk to her a few times. And she says, I have to come here. I have to guard this place. And it was really boring. Me going by, at least she got someone to wave to. So anyway, I get down a little further. One night I get down a little further. And I see this car coming along and it flips upside down. It hits the curb. It flips upside down. And the gas tank ruptures. And I go over to the car and I help the guy out. And I'm soaked in gasoline. All right? So I get the guy out of the car and he's drunk. He's absolutely drunk. He's out of his mind. He's telling me there's other people in those other cars. And I went checking, but they weren't. No, there's people in those cars. They cut me on like, fuck you. It's like, shut up. And as I'm soaked in gasoline, these two old man and old lady come by. They're smoking. And of course, they're senile. They're just going out for a walk around the neighborhood. I said, get back. Get back. And then I used the F word, get effing back. I'm going to break both your freaking head. I'm covered in gasoline. And these two people, what's going on here? What's going on? And I tell you, if I ever killed anybody, they came very close to being killed. Gasoline, when it's not real volatile, but a cigarette can light gasoline up very easily. And I'm emitting gas fumes. So I take care of the cops come. I tell him the whole story. He says, yeah, he's drunk. I said, yeah, he told me there were people in this other car. Oh, and how I turned this in. I got the car out. I'm covered in gasoline. I hop back on my bicycle. I go back towards where the cop is. And because there's no phones. This in the old days, there were no phones. And everything's abandoned there. There's no houses. Where those old people came from, I don't know. So I go up to the cop. She starts the car up. She pulls forward. She looks down. She sees the car upside down. She calls it in. I come back, and I'm helping the guy, and I'm soaking wet with gas. And the old people, I'm making sure they don't get any closer. Cop comes by, tell him the whole story. I said, those two assholes over here, they're coming up with lit cigarettes. I said, do you need me for anything else? And he says, no. He goes, I can take care of it. This guy's going to admit he's drunk and all. So he says, what were you doing down here? I said, I always drive by here. And he says to me, the road's closed. I said, yeah, but I don't care. I really, be honest. I said, you got a problem? He goes, no. So I said, I called it in by telling the girl up there, and he knew that. He heard the call come in. I said, yeah, I went back, told her to call you guys, and then, of course, the fire department comes up. because the gas is now going down in the sewer. That's not a good thing. So I turn my bike around. I got to go back home. And I go back home. I come up the street, and my father's talking to a neighbor, and I get off the bike, and he goes, "What did you just do?" I said, "What?" He goes, "I can smell the gas from here." I said, "Well, this car flipped over, and the gas tank ruptured, and the guy was drunk." And he goes, "You got to stop doing this stuff." He says, "One day you're going to get hurt really bad." I said, "Well, you know, the car was upside down. It was," and then I said, "There was an old man and an old lady with cigarettes going towards it. It was like a really bad movie." And I had I had to step in. I had to do it. That's who I am. And my father, I knew my father would never do that. What he would do is a week later he'd tell a great story about what happened. You know, guys incinerated in the car, an old man, an old lady incinerated. That's the difference between me and my father. I would get involved. Well, you could be sued. You could. The first words out of his mouth was, "You could be sued." And I used to say to him, "You're never going to be a hero. You're never going to be." "Well, that's for the police to take care of." You know, if it was your own family, I don't think he would even jump in. I don't think so. I think he'd wait for the police to come. He used to say that to me. "Well, that's the police's job." No, it's not. It's your job. If two people are fighting, you get between them. Oh, if there's a knife involved, maybe not. But you get between them, just separate them. They'll calm down. "Well, yeah, it's a police matter. It's a police matter. You'll be called as a witness." Yeah. You know how many times I've been called for a witness in my lifetime? Twice. And that I'll keep for another story. I think that's it. All right, that's it. That's it for today.